Hello, this is Teutonic DIY again, and this is a guide to basically point you in the right direction when you start your DIYer, and basically tell you all the stuff that you can do to get a lot of free shit without doing much. So basically, the first thing that you want to do is to get a lot of GP, and the best way to do that when you're starting out is do all the tasks, because they give a lot of GP per task, especially when you start doing a lot of them, because the more that you do, the more GP you get per task. So, for example, when I do this task, I think this is the task. There we go. So you got 1K off that task, and it adds up. It seems like a little bit, but it does add up, especially when you're low on GP. Another thing for GP you can do is shooting stars, which there's a French chat for that. Let's see, Starfine. Right there, and then you go in that chat and you look up their forum thread, and tells you exactly what to do, and you basically just mine a star, get a ton of dust, and then you can turn it in for a free 50k per day and a bunch of other stuff. It's very helpful, and you really need GP for stuff like fishing, for weapons, and for armor and stuff like that. And another thing you want to do in your DIY is quests. Now, there's a lot of quests that are out there, but the ones that I really recommend that you start out with are things that will give you a lot of XP. So things like the Knight's Sword, which gives you 1 to 29 smithing if you do it right. You can kill the torsos in the catacombs for iron bar, and then just get 1 to 29 smithing straight off the bat. Also, Holy Grail gives like 10k prayer XP, and for combat XP, which is a biggie, you can do the Waterfall quest, Vampire Slayer, Tree Gnome Village, Dragon Slayer, Fight Arena, and the Grand Tree. Also, for summoning and herblore, you should do the Wolf Whistle and Druidic ritual quests, which will basically give you a bunch of starting materials. And so for farming, Garden of Tranquility, and as I said before, just in general for XP, if you're going for like a skill or something, you might want to check the Wikia, see if there's, some amount of XP that you can get in just from doing a quest beforehand. It's really helpful. Also, I'm going to talk about some of the beginning goals that you want to set for your DIY. So obviously a big one is protection prayers, because at the minute it protects you basically from everything that an NPC can hit you for. So that's prayer level of 43, and a good way to get that is getting big bones or dragon bones and using them on the ecto and doing quests, because you can get like half the way just doing quests, like I said before. And another goal you want is 40 attack and then 60 attack and Monkey Magnus. Because 40 attack you can do a rune short sword, which is a rune scimitar equivalent, and at 60 attack you can get your D-Skimmy, which is obviously a very, very big goal. It really helps out a lot, because it's just a high DPS weapon that you can get pretty easily, and it's really nice. Also, another thing that you want to go for is Alks. Those are 44 RC for the nature runes, or you can get them from Slayer, but usually you probably will need a pretty high Slayer level for that, so you're probably better off just sticking to the 44 RC, especially after the rune span. Holy crap, it's really easy to get RC XP now. 55 Mage, also, that's a tough one, but if you do stars every day, like I mentioned, you can get Mage XP pretty easily at the Mage Training Arena by casting the spells, enchantments on these little gem things, and that gives you a decent amount of XP. And also you could do, once you get 43, you can do Superheat. That also helps you get to your high alks. And low alks you can also do, but that's kind of inefficient, because you might as well just wait for the high alks and get all that GP. Woot! And another thing you want to consider doing as a DIY is Slayer, because you get a lot of stuff from Slayer. You get alchable drops, useful items like armor, stuff like that, and like the whip. Obviously that's way far off. It's way far up there, but Also, it leads to free orb lore XP and prayer XP and combat XP from all the drops and stuff. And it also gives you an excuse to train up your fishing and cooking, because you fish the food and then cook it and then use it on Slayer. It's a good way to start out. And also another way to get a lot of free stuff is doing dailies. Now I'm gonna have a whole video out on this later, but basically the way I do dailies, I get about a free 150k XP, a ton of or 150k GP, sorry, and I get a ton of stuff like, oops, Minkman, that was a fail. A lot of stuff like seaweed and sand and stuff like that, and it helps you get some more XPs as well, and you get free stuff. Also, recently I've been buying food as well from a bunch of the shops, because they're pretty cheap and you can get a lot of good food from them. So, and like I said, I'll make a video on that later, but I hope you enjoyed this video and gives it a thumbs up if you did.